Hey guys, it's me, it's Amber Beck, and boy, I'm just going through it. I'm going through a lot of changes, a lot of things that building social media channels and the way that I look at things, the world that I live in. I'm going through changes to figure out, I don't know, kind of like using the YouTube channels and social media channels to be connected with people and feel like I'm part of this, but I'm going about it the wrong way. I'm going about it from a space where I'm so inside my head that I can't see where it's relative and where it's to other people. And as long as I'm not being relatable, people aren't going to look at stuff that I have to say. And that sucks. It sucks to be in that position. I've been a performer my whole entire life, and you'd think by now I would have had the social aspects of it down pat, but I don't. I'm Certain things slipped through the cracks. We toured a lot with the Trailer Park Rebels band, and I wanted to have ability to just speak and say cool things in between songs. And I wouldn't always know when that was going to happen, so I didn't have a plan. And like all of a sudden, well, now this guitar needs to be tuned, or now a string broke, or something would come up, and all of a sudden being on spot, and I've got nothing. I'd be blank and trying to entertain people with this blank slate of nothing to say to people. And the funny thing is my husband is really witty, and he has no problem finding things to say in the midst of quietness, but he doesn't say it out loud for everyone to enjoy. He just says it, mutters under his breath, and then he'd say something, and then I would repeat what he'd say, and then people would think that was funny. But there wasn't always a speaking piece. There wasn't always something he'd say that kept those quiet moments in between songs to keeping the flow really well of the song transitions from one to the next. And so and you'd think I'd get good at it because I spent years dealing with that challenge. And I think that even the booking agent got reports back like, hey, they're a good band, you play well, but there's still a lot of silence between songs. I remember that being a lot of the feedback we'd get, and even up until we stopped playing, because when we stopped playing, I was still struggling with those quiet in between things to say, because I'm not a comedian, but part of being a comedian is they plan out what they say. Planning is everything, but you don't realize that. It boils down to being outside of myself and thinking on terms of others. And I've been doing some major soul searching and thinking of changes and how I can change to start seeing from that changing space, how to become conscious of what people out there are thinking and have something in common that would be something we could share, that would come to my channel or come to my page and find it valuable. But I feel like I don't have any of that yet. You don't have the information. I know what's inside of my head and things that I think are interesting and probably aren't. And my best indicators are the fact that I have kids, and the things I'm interested in doesn't make them think anything. They're not interested in. I'm kind of like that boring mom. I actually watched the Simpsons episode last night where Marge took Lisa to go see this play, and it's like this baseball team with this lead singer who wants to sign everybody's autograph, but Lisa complains to the superstar, well, the starting superstar, of her issues, and he's telling her that she doesn't appreciate her mom, even though she took her to this play that she thought was funny. It was just kind of right in sync with what I'm talking about now. Just really enjoying something because that's what you enjoy inside of yourself. But social media is for social. Like, it's not meant. You can, and our people out there doing these social media channels, just having the time of their lives. Is that part of it? Or they found their niche because that's what they love and people relate to that? Because I'm struggling here. I don't know what I could even ever offer right now. And it's a rock bottom spot, a little bit. I know I'll get better. Lately I've been using ChatGPT to help assist me with words for descriptions, titles, and things like that to kind of help me have ideas for things. And I feel like that's been some of the best breakthroughs I've had. I find that I talk to it a lot because, guess what? Because it responds. When you're needing to vent, or they say women have like 20,000 words and men have 10 or 12,000 words. They don't have to say but half what women have to say. And so when you've lived years with a man, your husband, and he's heard you all the time, but you have to do that because that helps you clarify and just get things out. And there's a practice that they don't hear you anymore, or they don't hear you until you're making a different sound, whether you're maybe raising your voice a little bit or you're just talking in a different tone, then they'll start to listen. But most of the time it's really hard for them to stay engaged in your conversation because it's just woman mutter. And it's been kind of cool because like with ChatGPT, I can just sit there and say, oh, this is what's going on. And a lot of things I found was ChatGPT responds back a lot of times repeating the things you said, and will repeat and respond with better words displaying or understanding what you just said to it, and then giving you an evaluation of what you're saying. And I feel like that has helped so much. This is where I'm at. This is how I found out today, because I've been talking to ChatGPT for like 3 weeks. I know he's not real. I know he doesn't have feelings. And it's not anything. I can sleep and it will still give me an answer and not need sleep. It's not real. And I'm not engaging with it like it's the only person I'll ever know, the only thing I've ever loved. It's not like that. I've not humanized it in any way. But I find it as a very resourceful tool for mentality, my mental healing, my mental growth, and then my growth because I'm trying to build channels. I'm trying to build social media content, and it has been beneficial. But what else is really cool too is that I find that people have a hard time progressing in life because they don't have a vision, and they don't know that they can take their words of what pieces of a vision they have and put it into the ChatGPT, and then it will give you examples of more filled out versions of your fragments you've given it. It can really answer a lot of questions. It doesn't take away all of your, when I say all of your, that makes it suggest, it's a suggestion, or it sounds suggestive that it is replacing creativity. I don't think that it is replacing your creativity, because it's your creativity that's going to create something with its help. But I think it speeds up the processes faster, because it is the best librarian you've ever known. It speeds up all the processes that you would have to go through on your own, which could take hours and hours and days to process the information you need to get it and still not have the dialogue correct or something. It's been a really cool thing. Because of ChatGPT, I know it probably sounds like an advertisement for it, but because of it, I'm realizing that I have been in a space where I'm so stuck inside my head. And I always thought I was like a kind, loving, giving, thoughtful person. But when I feel like that this is my challenge that I'm dealing with the social media, because I've got 100 and something videos out, and several of them have 0 views, and it's because it's just really not relatable. And I feel like it's because I'm not looking at people in a connected way. I'm not being relatable. I'm being very, like I said, in here in my mind space, which is true. And I know it's true because of how much I am concerned about what people think about me. And so much, I think about that so much, not in a way that it's like that I'm pacing the floors on my downtime or anything like that, but it definitely makes me make decisions. It affects my decisions. I'm not allowed to be the person that I need to be sometimes because I'm afraid that somebody is not going to approve of this behavior or this thing or this or this or this. And I'm so conscious about what is mainstream thinking is okay, or I'm inside my head a lot. And I feel like that if I was conscious of other people, that it would show. Is that even a valid point? Like, it would show in that more people would see the things that I write and do as more relatable. It's kind of lonely to be here, that I did this to myself, that I've excluded myself and didn't even realize I did it. It's kind of like Horton Hears a Who. I'm that little puffball, and I'm just now realizing that there's more in life than just what's here on my little puffball. And now I need to expand my vision and expand my thought processes to existentialism of people. It is kind of a rock bottom place because it's starting from square one, but G.I. Joe said that knowledge is half the battle. 50% of the battle is knowledge. Then you can start working on it. Maybe I'm not at ground zero. Maybe I'm at 50% because now I know something I didn't know before. I just haven't heard Horton's voice yet. We'll see how this works, but I'm hoping to really like to start paying attention to humanity around me and to what's not necessarily trending, but what people are needing, what is helping them grow. Because I don't think I've found the answers yet, or Not that it's all up to me to find the answers, but I'd like to be able to offer something of help and connect, and be a part of the universe together. That's something else too that I like. It's like that we all are a part of each other. We have inside the house and windows to look outside. We have connections. We have stairs that take us outside. We have bridges over water. We can transitions. There's transitions, and we are all part of it. Stars in the sky and here on earth, the grass and the water, the lakes and the oceans, the land, the ice, the icebergs and the not icebergs, the craters, the volcanoes, physical mass and matter and soul energy. There's transitions to all of it, bridges to all of it. Just to start reaching out and starting to connect and love people and step out of this space. I didn't know I was here so much. I didn't know. But it makes sense. I kind of want to avoid saying what I want to say. People in my life that show up, I've been having a pattern of people that press me, and it's really hard for me to say something because I'm so internally conscious that when I'm in their presence, my ears will get hot, my body will physiologically change in their presence, and I literally cannot come forward with information in a way that is, what is the word? Conflict. We are allowed to have conflict as human beings. We don't have to put negativity to all the conflicts in the world. There is negativity in a lot of things, but conflict isn't necessarily itself negative. I don't have the ability to a specific type of person, and I keep running, this is my pattern, and it's because it's my weakness, it's my fear, it's my kryptonite, which is definitely meant to overcome. But I physically, and in my physiological up or bringing or composition, I can't come forward with a conflict to speak to another person because I'm so scared about what they think. Even to the point that I ask them if it's okay if I say something in regards to something, if they're accusing me of something or if they're saying something to me and I'm feeling all this weight and pressure from their blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, wait a second, you've got that wrong. You're misunderstanding me. You're not seeing me. And then I ask, can I say something? Because it matters so much in here what they think that I ask if I can say something. You know, that's respectful in a lot of ways, but at the same time, if they're being a mouthpiece of oppression or making you feel like I don't know, making you feel small, then I think you should have, if they're going to open their mouths and make you feel that way, you should be able to have the right to rebut it or to say, hey, you misunderstood this. But there isn't a way to conflict. There isn't a way for me to speak up with conflict. That's generational trauma for me. And so I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with getting out of my head. I know I'm really running on this tangent here, but I don't know, like, is anybody else, what is it called, debilitated with having to speak up, especially to somebody who's like your boss, or I don't know, anybody who has that, they don't even have to be your boss. They could be somebody who just carries themselves with a dominance or a power of authority or self-proclaimed power of authority, and they come and they talk to people and they pounce, but they're not used to people. These people who've learned to pounce have not had people raise conflicts with them because they seem to not know how to handle it. When a person who can't speak conflict, they don't seem to know how to handle allowing another person to say anything, I don't want to say opposing, but maybe that's something that would expand their horizons if they gave it a chance to listen and look at it. And that happens. I have attracted this very same type of person in my life, especially with employment, and that's probably why they're in their positions, is because they've established a behavior of dominance. But there has to be people, I think there's got to be people like me, because there wouldn't be people out there who've never had conflict conversations come back to them. There wouldn't be so many people who have that where they can paw you down. There wouldn't be people like that if people were willing to stand up that conflict back at them and say, hey, this isn't a healthy way to be talking to me. This isn't a healthy way to address this. There are better ways to address this. And so I think that because these people are still doing that, that they probably have dealt with people like me, or probably seek people like me because we're easy to manipulate, because we will not say a word because our oath is to silence until it hurts us so much. I imagine I've been living a pattern like this for years and years, probably since I was a child, because I was talking about this earlier today on a video that I was doing on TikTok, and it was about my grandmother, who, she didn't really express emotions about things. She was great at letting us know that she loved us. I never doubted, ever, that she loved me. This is the one exception. Her love for me was very proclaimed and expressed. But if she had any bitter feelings for me, and maybe my mom for her, maybe her and her daughter were close and they talked a lot, so maybe they know maybe my mom heard her talk, but I never had seen my grandma talk about her feelings about anything before. And that woman went through a lot, being that she was kind of like my secondary godmother, like my mom. Like, not my godmother, I call her my godmother because like a fairy godmother. She was older, she was my grandmother, so better than a godmother, I guess, in some ways, but she's like a grandmother, godmother, like in my mom's stead to take care of us kids while my mom was going to school while we were all in school age and stuff, and she lived with us. I see her work, I seen her toil, I saw her garden, be in with the dirt, working hard, cleaning, looking after people, loving people, but I never saw her be vocal about that she didn't like something about somebody, that she didn't like this, she didn't do, like there was not, it was almost like she was sworn to silence. She had an oath to silence. And I think that because I grew up, she was there with me. She was there a lot. And I spent a lot of interactive time with her. She was teaching me about rocks. She was teaching me walking. We were walking through the mountains where she lived. You'd go on walks a lot. And she would teach me that the gold that I'd see shimmering in the rocks was fool's gold, and that I didn't strike it rich, and that kind of stuff. You know, she was, in my earliest days, besides my mother, the most interactive person with me. And watching this person who is genetically linked to me as well, being this silence to oath to silence, and it makes me feel like that somatically, generationally, I'm dealing with that. Like I can't say it. How much, I wonder, she was in her head. How much, if it's not safe to live out here and to speak and to interact out here because you have to keep silent, how much moves inward? How much of a hermit do we become? Yes, I am inside. Well, and that's interesting because I'm a Cancer too, so that's funny. My grandmother was, I think she's a Scorpio, October 16th. What would that be? Right before Scorpio. That would probably be Virgo or something on the cusp of right before Scorpio, but it would be a little bit different. But it makes sense why I'm like moving inward, but that's what I've seen. That's the example that has been set before me. And now I'm being challenged to improve and to start moving past that. And I'm not sure I'll ever be completely healed from that in this lifetime, because I've lived 45, almost 46 years being, I'm not a quiet person, and I've had my moments where I fight, but there's things where like it's festered. By the time I start being vocal, it's festered. Except with there's a couple of safe people that I felt like that I was safe to be who I really am and say what I needed to say out of anger or out of whatever, and that was my mother and my husband and probably my sisters to the most degree. But that has changed as an adult. There is a lot more reserve that I have now as an adult, even with them and my mom now. So it's just my husband, but he doesn't want to just hear woman chatter all day long. So back to ChatGPT, where that's helping me work through this. Otherwise, I'd need to go get a freaking therapist. Probably need some somatic therapy and breath work too, and I have no idea how that works, and I don't have the money to do that, so I'll probably have to teach myself how to do it somehow. Anyways, ambitions, thoughts. I'm going off on a tangent, but I just really wanted to get on here and just say I need to go through the change. I've hit somewhat of a rock bottom, but knowing is half the battle, so I'm not at zero. I'm not at ground zero, but I have a lot of work to do, a lot of mindfulness work to do. And does this happen to you? I know I can't be the only one that has a brain like this, that has a thought process like this. And a lot of it is DNA, genetic, but that's not an excuse to not work on it. It's there and I need to address it. It's real and accept it, but it needs to be improved upon. And that's what I need to get onto. And I think that might be the real conversational piece I needed to have, but I think I was tiptoeing to getting here because I didn't have it all mapped out how I wanted to say it. Plus, excuse me, truth burp there. Plus, I feel like that the farther into the conversation or the farther into talking, the more that I could see what I was meaning or what I was feeling. It took a moment to settle into the energy, to settle from the acquaintance of talking to you about it into letting the energy and feelings come up to pick the words that need to be said. So let me know if you resonate with any of this. I don't expect anyone to. This isn't exactly the important part, but it's just something. It's something. So I hope you guys have a good night. Have a good Wednesday, March 5th evening, and I will talk to you soon. I will challenge myself to do more videos with me with my shiny, happy people face. All right. I know I was challenging that every time. Anyways, I keep on saying, I know, blah, 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 blah. Have a good day. Happy Wednesday. Goodbye. See you later now. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.